in honor of Mary Oliver. She just touches so deeply into our heart's desire and the deep truth. One of her most famous quotes is, "What are you doing with your one wild and precious life?" So maybe we could kind of feel into that a little bit today. Get yourself settled so that you're comfortable. The inquiries are always nice, started off with a relaxation and a real tuning in what's happening in your system right now. And Mary Oliver was someone who was very tuned in to her system and very tuned into the natural world as well. Most of her poems are about nature and about being present in nature and present with herself. And some of them are so detailed. So I was just reading some of the poems earlier, and one of them she talks about having a drink out of this one pond every day, and that she can kind of taste the moss and the duck's feet and just all of the those details of nature. And I love to be in nature too, and I know a lot of you do as well. And one of the things about being in nature is that we have to be there. And oftentimes when we're in any environment really, but even when we're at the ocean or we're in the forest or something, our mind is really not there because our mind is in the past or in the future. And so a poet like Mary Oliver reminds us to just stop and pay attention and be present with ourselves. So notice your own body, what's going on in your system right now. What are the thoughts in your mind? And when we bring to mind a quote like, "What are you doing with your one wild and precious life?" It can bring a flurry of activity. And it can bring a lot of regret as well. I know at times I've been kind of sad or quite sad about the what I might look at as the loss of aliveness in the years when I was really checked out. And it's such a common trauma response when we're not really fully here. We're living kind of a half life. And then we hear a sentence like that, and it kind of brings home. There's a poignancy and a sadness to that. And yet, this is our life, the frozen times, the anxious times, the days when we're caught in compulsive thinking. And maybe part of what we're doing with this one life is we're healing trauma and we're becoming known to ourselves. And it's not a Disney movie, it's not some simple thing. We accomplish some task and then everything's going to be wonderful. Human life is messy and hard, and we have these primitive nervous systems that think we're still in under siege. And it can take a long time to experience for ourselves the calmness and peace in our nervous system. And it's definitely not a smooth, even straight line from the bottom to the top. Jumpy. We go forward a bit, then we close down. We open a bit more, then we tighten up. So letting all of that be the way it is. Let's set it aside for a few minutes and go into the body and really soften and relax our body. Notice your whole body from head to toes. Notice everything that's going on in that space, the space that your body is occupying. Let your attention go from the top of your head through your face, from your face through your neck and shoulders, down through your back, your arms, your legs, your feet, and your toes. And notice the front of your body, the front of your face, forehead and the eyebrows, eyes, the sensations in your nose as you're breathing, your lips and your chin, front of your throat, down through your chest and your stomach, the front of your shoulders, the front of your arms and hands, fingers and fingertips. And from the top of your head down through the front of your body, through the front of your legs, into your feet and toes again. Bring your attention now into the soles of your feet. And up through the interior of your body, through your legs, through your torso, from the lower abdomen, up through the stomach area, through the heart center, the throat center, through the mouth, the eyebrow center, the top of the head. And even if your mind wandered all the way through that, bring it in right now. Notice your whole body and let your body settle and relax into the support of your structure, of your chair, your bed, the floor. This is what it's like to be present, just for a few seconds, even. We're present to our own experience. And notice what's happening in your mind, in your thought stream. One way to witness ourselves and the thoughts that are in the mind is to bring our attention towards the back of our head, like we're looking from behind our head or from the back of the skull. And we're watching thoughts as they arise in the mind. And then they have whatever life they have. And when we first start to watch, sometimes there'll be a bit of an empty space, like a child that suddenly realizes we're watching them playing or something. And then notice that thoughts come in as words and pictures, video clips, or still photos. If you're on social media, you've probably seen images of Mary Oliver, her face, maybe some of her quotes written out. Let whatever comes to mind come to mind and just notice your response. And our response comes in the form of thoughts and of sensations or energy in our body. Let's take a moment to notice that. What are you doing with your one wild and precious life? And if you find yourself getting kind of involved in an intensity that's distressing, you could always tap. Just bring your attention to the words or the images and then start to tap your forehead. Just kind of gently notice then the feeling of that on your forehead and the sound of that on your forehead. Sometimes we can get kind of drawn into a strong feeling of regret or something. You could focus on your breath, relax your shoulders, your jaw, your stomach. Mary Oliver wrote so often about water and ponds, stillness. Let those words be there like a ripple in a pond. And see if you could let, if there's any regret or that kind of distress going on, see if you could let that move to the background and to the foreground. Really open up wild and precious life. What would you like to do? What excites you? What comes to mind as fitting for your one wild and precious life? If there were no other obstacles in the way, what would that be like? And not to overthink it. Let your heart tell you. Bring your attention into your heart. What does your heart know? And stay with your breath. Keep noticing your body as well. This is not a disembodied inquiry. We're right here in our own life, in our own body, our own heart, bringing to life what do we yearn for, no matter what age we are. We're alive right now. We have this one wild and precious life. And if something practical is coming up and maybe something negative about, well, that's not going to happen, or you can't do that, just ask that part of your mind to move to the background again. Right now, we're in the heart, and let the heart resonate with that question, with that knowing, this one wild and precious life. And see it, feel it, attune to it. Breathe life into it with your attention, with your heart. You can let the question and your attention ebb and flow. Sometimes it gets very quiet, just resting your attention in the heart center. Maybe focusing on your breath. Maybe there are other Mary Oliver poems coming to mind. Stay with your actual experience, letting those words reverberate in your heart. One wild and precious life. Notice how that feels in your whole body. Notice your body again from head to toes. Notice your breath. Notice if there's any resistance in your body. That would be quite natural to expect some resistance. And right now, We're just focusing on opening up to those possibilities and feeling our way into what that might be like. If there were no obstacles at all, what would your life be like? What would you want? What would you be passionate about and engaged in? And we're letting that really kind of flower in our mind, in our body, in our heart. And coming back to your body again and again and again, noticing your breath, noticing your body as it's relaxed, letting your body soften, moving your body around if you want. Mary Oliver's body no longer contains her spirit, and ours do. We're in our bodies, we're in our lives, we're in some place in there. We might be towards the beginning, middle, the end, but we're all alive. And at every moment, we have this opportunity to tune in, really be in our lives, to be living our lives. And somebody like Mary Oliver really inspires that. It's like, oh, and we remember and we touch back in. And see yourself bringing this into your life today, into your life tomorrow, and next month, and next year. And each moment, this moment, and the next moment. And then we'll forget for a while, and then we'll tune back in and rest with this in our heart. And set your intention that you're going to carry this out into your day. And when you're ready, open your eyes.